Esther has given us a comment here. He's saying that I'm very happy I'm able to start live with you today, Dr. and Mrs. Oteng. I'm very grateful for this channel. God richly bless you. Come on, man. I thank you so much for that. My goodness. My goodness. You caught us live. You caught us live today, and I'm happy that you did because life comes with life, as I say. Life comes with life, right? All right. So we are happy to have you. This is a good way to also interact. If you have any questions, sometimes it's not a question, but a contribution that will benefit other people who otherwise wouldn't, hear it. We have a platform. These videos will stay for years on the platforms that we put on. So you may say something that may not benefit somebody today, but down the line, 10 years, 5 years, 1 year, somebody will hear it and they will like it. So thanks for joining, and I'm hoping that other people will come, will also interact with us as we move forward. All right. So with that being said, what are we talking about today? Today, as we are aware, we are talking about the science of diabetes. In short, this is just a short form of what we want to say, the science of diabetes. But really, what we want to actually hit is that is it possible that some people may be diabetic and they don't know? Some people may be diabetic and they probably don't know. And so if you don't know, this discussion may be a help or a guide to you to figure out whether some of the things you're seeing in yourself may be somewhat diabetic in nature. If they are, we don't want you to stay home and self-diagnose. We just want to give you a hint that maybe you should get things checked.
Before we get on live, I went to CDC and I checked the statistics for people that are with diabetes, the diagnosed ones and the undiagnosed and the pre-diabetics. Like you're saying, some people may be living with diabetes and they have no idea. So maybe this live show or this information may help people to pay more attention and change maybe and do things differently. So from the statistics I found out, people that are living with diabetes, we have 37.3 million Americans being living with diabetes.
That's diagnosed?
That is diagnosed. No, that's the total. The total is 37.5 million of Americans have diabetes. Then the diagnosed number is 28.7 million people they are diagnosed. So they are aware that they have diabetes.
So the doctor has told them.
Yes. But the undiagnosed is 8.5 million people.
My goodness.
That is a huge number that are walking around with diabetes, but they are not treating it. They are just walking around with it because they are not even aware that they have diabetes. Then with pre-diabetes, I have 96 million people are pre-diabetes.
96 million.
96 million are pre.
That is a lot.
So they are not there yet, but they are almost there. So that is huge numbers. That's why it's incumbent on us. Like we really want to help or educate and also help ourselves so that in case you are heading towards that area, if you are pre-diabetic, maybe you have to change your lifestyle. Or if you're already diabetic, the things that you can do differently. Or if you are full-blown diabetic, but you have no idea, then these signs and symptoms may help you figure out with the help of your doctor.
My goodness. That is a huge statistic. 96 million people living there and they are pre-diabetic. Pre-diabetic to full-blown diabetes is not a long journey. You don't need a highway to do that. You just need a little street, drive, and you are already diabetic. So that is scary. 96 million people who are on the verge of getting diabetes, pre-diabetic. So it is important that you know, the signs that we're going to talk about. Probably about 6 or more signs, common signs. It may not be all inclusive. It may not be all that there is to it. But suffice to say that if you see at least one or two of them, definitely have to get your doctor, so that they do a check on you. And so, with that being said, I think we're going to hit straight onto our slides. So, again, our topic, as we said, is diabetes, the signs you cannot ignore. Some of the signs you cannot ignore. And if you were diagnosed already diabetic and we don't mention any of these signs, but you were found to be diabetic, let us know the sign. It may be a new one that we have to add to our list, because people are different and some people may not see any of these signs and yet may be diabetic. So if you are among those people, then obviously let us know so that we add to our list. But this list is pretty very comprehensive. All right, so with that being said, let's move on. And again, you can share, like, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and let us roll together. Very much share with your people. And it's not that you're telling them they are diabetic, but you're telling them this is good stuff so that they may also find it useful for their own health and their families. All right, so with that, we're going to go. These are the summary of the things we're going to talk about. And, I'm going to read some of them and give to you, and then we'll consider them one at a time and see why they show up. We may not have all the answers as to why they all show up in diabetes or in people, but at least the little that we know we'll put up for you to know. The first one is frequent urination, or what we call in science polyuria. So that is the first sign.
Mm-hmm. And the second one is hunger and thirst.
Hunger, increased hunger.
Increased hunger. We all get hungry, mm-hmm. right? But in this case, like, you don't get satisfied. You keep eating and you keep drinking and you don't feel full or you don't feel satisfied.
And the next sign is unexplained weight loss. Unexplained. This sign is a little tricky because I always like people to lose weight. So if by chance, you're lucky and you're losing weight and you didn't do anything, it's not a good thing. It's a blessing, right? But unfortunately, when it comes to diabetes, it may not be. So we're going to explain why. Unexplained weight loss. And then the next
is fatigue. You're extremely tired.
All the time, right?
All the time, yeah.
And then the next one is tingling and numbness, whether in your hands or feet. And then next,
infections and dark spots.
Infections and dark spots. All right. So we are going to go into a little more detail, but at least if for any reason you leave, you got the gist of what these signs are. And again, some of them are not listed because everybody's different, but these are the common ones, the most common ones, I should say. All right. So with that being said, let's move on. The first time we're actually going to, before we move on, we actually want to ask you to like. We already have 5 thumbs up, which is good for the start. And then we also want you to subscribe if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel. And then also, if you are watching from Facebook, which most of you do, make sure that you also do the follow button or the like and thumbs up button so that it will reach more people. All right. So with that, let's move on. So the first one is frequent urination. Frequent urination. I'll take that and give to you, prepare to help us with the next one. So frequent urination. People who are frequently going to the bathroom for apparently no reason other than they just wake up either in the middle of the night, they have to pee and pee and pee and pee. That is a sign that you may have diabetes. It is a sign that diabetes may be there. And also the pee is not just, just going, but volumes of pee, volumes of urine. And the reason, now before I even go to the reason, let me talk about differential diagnosis, because somebody may say that, but I have a different disease and I pee, and it's not diabetes. Yes. Now, some differential diagnosis, if you have, in women, if you have a UTI, you may end up going to the bathroom frequently. So, but it will stop after the infection is treated. So that may not necessarily be diabetic, right? And then in men, if you have enlarged prostate, You can also be going to the bathroom all the time. But the difference is that in men who have enlarged prostate and who are going to pee, they don't pee a lot. The urine is they even struggle to
To
pee.
pee.
It's just that they are going frequently. They are
Right.
getting the urges to go, but the pee is small. They go and sometimes nothing even comes. So that is different from the one that we are talking about, which is a sign of diabetes. Sign for diabetes, that one you go and you pee a lot. You can tell that you are peeing. And that is what we are talking about in terms of peeing so much frequently or urinating so much frequently. That is a sign that there may be diabetes happening there that is not diagnosed. There could be other, differential diagnosis, but these are the common ones that people may think is going on. But at least if you rule out prostate enlargement, prostate, issues, and you rule out infections, especially in women, then it may be, God forbid, it may be that you are ending up with diabetes. So you got to get that checked. Is there anything you want to add to that, or you want us to go to the next?
Yeah. So why they keep paying? I think you didn't
Oh, yeah, I
explain
didn't
that part.
explain that. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to go ahead?
Okay, so the reason why you pee so much when you have the signs of, as a sign of diabetes, is that in diabetes, if you remember our video from before, is that in diabetes, you have lost the ability to absorb your glucose into your cells. You have absorbed it from your belly, all right, but they are stuck in your blood because insulin is not functioning well. Whether it is released a lot or whether it's small, whatever it is, your insulin levels are not working, whether high or low. You are not able to pick up the glucose into your cells for your cells to use for the purposes of energy and all that. And so, because your glucose is hanging around, the kidney tries to do a good job because the kidney knows that too much glucose in the blood is not good. So the kidney says, hey, okay, if the cells won't take it because insulin is not working or they are resistant, I'm going to make sure that I get rid of this glucose. And so what the kidney does is to make you pee the glucose out. But as a consequence of peeing the glucose out, it has to come with water. It can't just pee dry crystal glucose. And so when glucose is coming, it comes with water. And so you are going to the bathroom to pee, and the reason is that you are peeing basically sugar out. And that's why some people, if they want to find out they are diabetic, they pee on the ground and they want to see if ants and flies will come because they know that sugar is in the blood. I mean, in the pee. Some people do that. People who don't have access to, well diagnosis, they do that and say that, oh, as for me, when I pee, ants and flies don't come, so I'm not diabetic. No, that's not good. My goodness. That's not how you diagnose it. But at least you have an idea that if you are diabetic, you are going to pee out your sugar or your glucose through your urine, and so that is why you pee a lot.
So, and I think at that stage, it means that you are a full blown like diabetic,
Yes, but you
you
don't
know,
know.
but you
So
don't know. So, to keep peeing because you are getting the body is trying to get rid of the excess sugar,
glucose.
right? Glucose in your body. So that's why you keep getting going to the bathroom because you keep peeing it out, right? Because your body want to get rid
Get
of
rid
it.
of it.
And I think the smell also have a fruity
Fruity smell.
smell
Okay.
of the urine because it's all glucose is in there and you can smell something. So if you realize that the pee you are frequently peeing and maybe a drip fell on the ground and there are ants all over and the smell has a little fruity smell to it, then you have to watch out. It may be diabetes creeping on you.
And the other thing is, for some women are also diagnosed with diabetes because of this symptom, and they get infections. We're going to talk about that. But the glucose you are peeing, because glucose is coming through your urethra throughout all the time, you will develop an infection down there. And so, with that, if it is repetitive, your doctor may be like, "Let me check you for diabetes because why are you getting UTI all the time?" Because you are you are peeing or urinating, glucose, sugar is coming, and the bacteria feeds on that glucose to populate, and the infection comes down there. So that is another way in women we find it out. But definitely the key is that you are going to the bathroom to pee all the
all the
time,
time.
and a lot of pee too. All right, so we'll go to the next one. If we miss something, or if there's a question, don't forget to put it on the chat. If we can't answer it now, we'll answer later, but we definitely want to roll together here. The next one, Gifty, you're going to talk about that?
Is increased hunger, being hungry all the time. And I think the reason being that you are eating all right, but you don't feel satisfied. The reason being that the cells are not getting the glucose because they are not being absorbed into your body. It's all stuck in the bloodstream, and the sugar is all there, but you need that into your cells for you to function, for you to feel full. So you will eat all right, and you feel like your belly is full, but after a few minutes, few hours, you are hungry again, and you keep eating because you are not getting satisfied, because the glucose is not being absorbed into your cells, and you feel hungry all the time. So we all like food, sometimes you get happy if you keep going rounds and rounds of eating, but you just have to watch it closely, that you used to get full maybe one time and you don't feel hungry for a long period of time, but you realize that of late you keep getting hungry very frequently, more often, and you keep eating and eating and eating. If that's happening, it means that whatever you are eating is not being absorbed. And because they are not being absorbed, your brain keeps telling you that, oh, you don't have anything in your system. You have to go and eat more. If that's happening, that can be a sign that your glucose are not being absorbed and that they are stuck in the bloodstream. And that can be leading to diabetes.
Oh my goodness, my goodness. That is what's up. That's what's happening right there. With your glucose not being absorbed by your cells, you're gonna eat the world and still be hungry. No matter what you eat. Because like she said, the cells are not absorbing any energy. Glucose is the energy, and if the glucose is not coming, then of course you are going to feel that you didn't eat anything. So you will be hungry all the time. And that is what is happening. We call that polyphagia. It means that you don't get satisfied. You can eat the world and you are not hungry. All right. So that is something that we have to watch out for. All right.
I think some teenagers and young men have this issue, but that may not be diabetes because they would eat and eat and eat and wouldn't get satisfied.
Come
In
on,
their
man.
case,
You're blaming the men right now.
because the guy in the picture, I don't know, at some point in life, I think when they are growing, sometimes they need extra energy. That is different. But if in your case you feel like you used to be satisfied and all of a sudden nothing satisfies you, then you have to look into it. Yeah.
And the other thing is it's additive. So if you are hungry all the time and then you are peeing all the time,
Right.
so two things that definitely something is up. You are going to the bathroom to pee. You can't sleep for 2 hours without waking up to pee, maybe even more than 2 hours. But you are peeing and peeing and peeing, and then you are hungry and hungry and hungry. Then of course there is a sign there for diabetes that got to be checked out. And then,
Sorry. And then with the peeing, I think sometimes too we get confused with drinking coffee. Coffee is a diuretic. So if you drink it, it's likely that you're going to use the bathroom more often. And you feel like you keep going to the bathroom. And that is a little different because you are taking in diuretic. Your body is getting rid of excess fluids in your body. So that is definitely different from what we are talking about. So if you feel like you're peeing more often, just cut off the coffee, the caffeine intake, the tea intake, and see whether that symptom still persists. So if it keep persistent, then you can think through it and see if you have to check with your doctor.
all right. And so that is that one. Now, let's see. The next one is increased thirst. Increased thirst. And so, apart from eating and being hungry all the time, another sign of diabetes that you should not ignore is increased thirst.
Thirst.
You are thirsty for a drink all the time. I'm not talking about alcohol. Come on, man. You are thirsty for a drink. I'm talking about you real thirst. You feel like you got to drink water. You got to drink water, even though you just drank and you still feel thirsty. And that again is because you are losing water. Peeing so much, you're losing the water. And of course, when glucose is in your blood, your body wants to maintain a sense of balance, and so it wants to dilute it in your blood so that it won't be like too sweet in your blood, I should say.
Right.
Just to make it easy for us to understand. And so with that, it means that you got to get more fluid in order to dilute it. So not only are you peeing water out because you are excreting glucose, you are also causing the sugar balance in your blood is also too sweet, and so you have to dilute it. So the two things combined, as well as the hunger, of course, and everything added together, will make you feel thirsty. And so that is another sign that there may be diabetes coming down on you. You may not be full blown, but if it persists, you got to check that out. You cannot ignore that sign. All right. I mean, we agree that you should hydrate.
Yes.
I try to drink at least some amount of water every day, which is good. Whether you are diabetic or not, you got to try and drink water. But if your thirst is not quenched even after drinking, you drink water and already you are thirsty. And then you also watch out, you are going to the bathroom to pee it out. So it's like it goes and it's out, it goes, and it's a cycle of, just drinking and peeing and hungry all the time. Then obviously we got to make sure that we are checked. That may be a sign that you may be diabetic or pre-diabetic. And so that is that one.
Yeah. And some cases are such that some people's sugar is so not controlled to the point that they get to a place and the first thing that they have to check out for is where the restroom is. And they will sit close to the restroom and they will just have to keep going and go. You will know. I think it's not going to be the regular urge to go to the bathroom or the regular thirst. Your body will tell you that definitely there is something
Something is up.
off,
This is
and
not
you
right.
don't have to ignore that.
You don't have to ignore that. My goodness. Come on, man. You don't have to ignore that. Don't ignore any sudden changes that you are not used to. Or if it came slowly and you are getting used to it, it may still not be something that you got to get used to. You have to make sure you are checked out. Now, that being said, if you went on a run, one day you exercise so much, you sweat and everything, and you feel that you need water throughout the day, then it doesn't mean it's a sign of diabetes because you are replacing the fluids that you may have lost. So that one is normal. So see the activity around. You haven't done any exercise. You haven't even done any major thing that should make you thirsty, and you are thirsty all the time. And especially even after drinking, you still feel like you got to drink. Then there's something up. That's when we think you should get things checked out because you don't want to be living around with high blood glucose, leading to some of the things that we're going to talk about in the future. All right, go for it. So, sign number 3 is unexplained weight loss. Now, have you start that?
Yeah, so I think it's still in line with overeating. So you keep eating, and because your cells are not picking up the glucose, you are hungry all the time. So because your cells are not picking up the glucose, which your body needs for energy to function, it will start breaking down the fats that you have. So your muscles are being broken down, the fats are being broken down. That's a sign of what? Weight loss, which we are all thriving together, but we don't want it through getting diabetes. So because you're not getting the energy from the food that you are eating, because they are all stuck in your bloodstream, the body have to replenish itself because your brain need glucose to function. You need glucose, you need energy for your daily activity. So the body will find a way to supplement what you are missing. And in so doing, it's going to break down your muscles and the fat cells in your body. That's when the unexplained weight loss comes in. And I think it's so drastic. So when you are fully blown diabetic, then the weight will show, you will lose weight, and people can notice the huge change in you. Then that can be a sign that you have diabetes.
Oh
So
my
it's
God.
something that you don't want to overlook. It's something you don't want to overlook. Yeah.
All right, my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. It is. I mean, I wish it wasn't something that was bad. Come on, man. If you could eat and still lose weight, who wouldn't like that? You eat all the foods, you're hungry all the time, you're eating, and yet you're losing weight. Oh man, I wish it was for the good. But unfortunately, like she said, the food is not going anywhere. And so you end up using your own fat stores and your own muscles. How sad. A disease is making you burn your own body down because you can't take anything in by yourself. It's a bad disease, bro. And so, and the key thing that you actually said I want to stress is this: how sudden it is. This will not take over years. This weight loss will be maybe a month, few months. You will see that no, you have lost a lot and you did not do anything. The key is unexplained. You don't know why. And that's when people ask you, hey, you're losing weight. What's happened? Are you sick? And then you be like, no, I'm fine. But everybody will tell, hey, you lost weight. Are you sick? Are you on a diet? But you are not on a diet. You are not exercising.
You're
You
even
are
eating more.
you are even eating more, and yet you're losing weight. So that is unexplained. You have not planned for it. If you have planned to lose weight, you're doing intermittent fasting.
Okay.
You are eating only grains. You are eating all the good sources of fat, and you're exercising and you're losing weight. If it's drastic, praise God. Come on, man.
No, I think drastic is still not healthy. Even if you are trying to lose
Oh,
weight,
come on. I'll take drastic.
the
For
healthy
some,
way of
yeah.
losing weight is at least 2 pounds a week. You want to do it slow, because if it's drastically done, your body will rebound, and there are other things that can happen. So, in a healthy way, is just to go slow. It shouldn't be drastic.
No, but
That
if
is
your
not a
body,
healthy
if
way
you
of
did
doing it.
all the things right and your body is losing that quick, then we could, just take it, as long as it's not unhealthy. But the key here is that the point I'm trying to point out is it should be something that you did not plan about.
Right.
You did not plan to lose weight, and yet you are losing it. You are not having sleepless nights. You are sleeping fine. You are eating fine. As a matter of fact, because of the symptom we already said earlier, you are eating more because you're hungry all the time. And you are drinking more because you're thirsty all the time. And still you are losing weight. And as she said, drastic over a few months, all your muscles and everybody can tell that you're losing. Then you got to make sure that you don't just sit there. Now, that being said, that could be also a marker for some other diseases, not just diabetes. In cancers, it could be like that. So, however you take it, it is not good to just lose weight unplanned. If you have planned it and you are working towards it, then that's why I'm saying that it's okay. But if you haven't planned, but suddenly you are losing, your waist is just shrunk all of a sudden, even though it would have been a good thing to shrink it by yourself. But if you did not do it yourself and it's doing it by itself, then we got to get ourselves checked. We got to get diabetes test done ASAP, especially if we have the other signs of unexplained, of hunger, increased hunger, thirst, and urinating or peeing all the time on top of it. If you tell me those three things and you lost weight, I could potentially just tell you that you're diabetic right off the bat without you even going to the doctors. All those things together, probably I could do that. But that being said, you still have to see a doctor for them to do a diagnosis on you to ensure that that is what is actually happening. So it's a dangerous sign to lose weight when you haven't asked for it. And you have not asked for it.
Ask for it.
Yeah, if you ask for it,
If you ask for it, or you can just ask and the weight goes away, or what?
When you ask it, you do something about it, right? Faith without works is dead, right? So you ask and you do the exercise, you eat right, and you lose it, then that's good. But that's what we want to have, rather than to just lose it when you have not done anything about it. And we'll go forward. All right. So the next sign is fatigue. Fatigue. Who takes that?
Go ahead.
So fatigue, along with the same along the same line of explanation we have given, you also get extremely fatigued. You are exhausted all the time. And the reason being that you are not absorbing glucose into your cells. You have absorbed it into your blood, all right? When you eat, you get it all picked up. It goes to your blood, but it's stuck there. Because insulin is not working or you don't have enough insulin, the glucose cannot be picked up by your individual cells. And as if you remember, we said that glucose is basically the basic unit of energy. It's broken down to what we call ATP, which is the energy currency of the body. And so if your glucose cannot be picked up by the cell, then the cell cannot produce ATP. And if there's no ATP, basically there's no energy. And if you don't have energy, then it will manifest itself in the form of exhaustion, complicated exhaustion. You haven't done anything and yet you are tired. You are exhausted, little thing, and you are tired. It's not because you are lazy. It's just because your glucose is not being picked up because of diabetes. And so you got to get yourself checked up. Want to add anything?
Yeah, so technically, your cells are starving.
I
And
like
when
that.
you are starved,
I like that key. Cells are starving.
they are starving. They are not getting the minerals, the things from the food that you are eating. So they are starved. And when they are starved, when you're hungry, you're slow.
Oh my goodness. When you are hungry, you are slow.
You are
Keep
slow
going.
in everything. You just want to lie down. You just want to rest because you're not getting the energy that you need to function. And the brain, you are not alert. You feel all exhausted. You just want to close your eyes and lie down. You're very tired. Some people are almost tired all the time. But if this is not you, and all of a sudden you feel extremely tired, it means that your cells are not getting enough energy, and that can be a sign of diabetes.
That's a sign, a huge sign of diabetes. Tired, lacking energy because you cannot pick up your food when you eat it because of insulin's problem, because you cannot do that. All right. And all these things we have mentioned, they are the signs that you should not ignore if you have not been diagnosed as diabetic. But then if you have diabetes and your blood sugar is not also on point, you're going to feel these signs. Because literally it's just going to be like you are living like you don't know that you're diabetic. So if your glucose control is bad and you're diabetic, you're going to feel these signs. So if you're already diabetic and all these things we are telling are the signs that people should watch out, then it means that you haven't watched out enough because your glucose is not controlled. Come on, man. It's not controlled. That is why you are seeing those signs. But if you control the glucose level, then you are going to be perfectly fine. You're going to be normal. And most of these things we are saying will not be seen in you, even though you have been diagnosed. So this is for people who are not controlled, they don't have the blood sugar controlled, and then who also don't know that they have diabetes and hanging out and doing all the things that they want to do. We go for it. All right, so the next sign that we want to talk about is tingling and numbness. Now, tingling, numbness, and as well as the fatigue, they may not show early. The people who urinate or who go to the bathroom and pee all the time, that would be early sign. You will see that more quickly. But when it gets to tingling, you're feeling numbness in your fingers and your feet, and there's there's that kind of burning sensation. If you are seeing that, it means that you have been diabetic for a long time. And that is why the nerves in your arms and your fingers, the nerves in your feet, they are beginning to suffer because glucose is killing them. And once glucose is too high in your blood for a long time, the power of glucose is to destroy the nerve cells, and that is why you're feeling those pain and those tingling sensations and numbness. So this is potentially more late in somebody who has not been diagnosed for a long time, or somebody who is diabetic but who has not controlled their sugar for a long time. The sugar has not been controlled, then this will show up. Or somebody who may have controlled their sugar for a long time, but because they have had diabetes for so many years, I've seen people with like 30 years diabetic, eventually you see a little bit of these signs because, of course, you've been fighting the sugar all throughout. And so once in a while, you may see some of these signs. But if you have not been diagnosed with diabetes and you are seeing these, then definitely you have had this, especially if it's diabetes that is causing that, then you may have had diabetes for a longer time than you think. And so we got to watch out. If you see this, then there's, to me, I'll call it an emergency because you have had this for a while. You have been used to the going to the bathroom to pee all the time. You think it's normal. So it's been there all the time. You've been used to the hunger. You've been hungry all the time and thirsty all the time, but you thought it was normal. You were just somebody who liked food, and so you didn't do anything about it. And then, and then this is coming up on top, as well as other things that happen with complications when your blood sugar is not controlled. You add anything?
And another thing too is if you have sugar in your blood, it's likely that it affects your circulation. So being diabetic affects your circulation. The movement of the blood in your veins is a little impeded because you have the sugar in your bloodstream. So when the movement is not freely going around in your body, it's likely that you feel this numbness and the tingling because the cells are not getting the flow of blood, which has the oxygen and the energy and all that. So you feel the numbness. So diabetics normally experience poor circulation, and that can lead to the numbness. Like you said, it's the late stage. So it's more with people that are diagnosed all right, but it's uncontrolled. So if your diabetes is not well controlled, you go to the doctors, your A1C is off the chart, and almost every time you do your tests, you know that the numbers are too high. It means that you are aware, all right, but whatever you're doing, you're not doing it to the point that the sugars are not controlled. So if they are not controlled and you keep staying in that stage for a long period of time, the circulation is affected, and then you start feeling the tingling and the numbness, which can,
My goodness. Like that. The circulation. That's a huge thing with diabetics. And so it's a sign that if you have not been diagnosed and you are seeing this already, you have had it for a while. Says go get checked out. All right. So we're going to move forward and see if we have any more. Yes. And the next one we're going to talk about is increase in infections and also delayed wound healing and also what we call dark spots in some cycles. So we start with I'll start off with the increase in infections. I think I already alluded, especially in the females, that if you have uncontrolled or undiagnosed, I should say, diabetes, you are not taking anything, you don't think you have diabetes, and you're going to the bathroom to pee all this glucose all the time because your kidneys are trying to make sure that your blood is not too sugary. So you're going to the bathroom to just take out the sugars out through peeing. As you pee glucose, as glucose comes through your urethra, eventually bacteria will feed on it. Bacteria likes food. Glucose is food. Even to ourselves, it's food, right?
Yeah.
And so bacteria will also feed on it, and then they will grow. And so you get consistent UTIs. Sometimes too, it will be fungus. What do you call it? Candida, I should say, candidiasis. In women. So you get, you go to the pharmacy, you grab monostat. Almost every month, you have to use a monostat, 3-day treatment or 7-day treatment, and you have not gotten checked. You got to go check yourself because if you are always getting prescribed fluconazole as a medication for candida, or you are using the over-the-counter monostat all the time because you are basically, the key is you are getting frequent infections. By frequent, everybody is different. For somebody, they don't have any UTI at all, maybe 1 or twice a year, but then it becomes every month. So with you, it may be frequent because it's every month. But some people too, naturally, they can't clear down there really good. So they get, normal with them. They get 1 UTI every month. So if it becomes twice a month or 3 times a month, then you know that it's becoming too frequent. So frequent infections is a sign that you are probably diabetic. And that is if it is UTI in women. Now, if it is in other cause, other infections such as even getting the common cold all the time, you are easily infected. Pneumonia, this every infection that comes around, you
You
get
get it?
it. You get a scrape on your arm, and it
Mm-mm.
has to be treated in a hospital with antibiotics because it will not heal by itself. Infections, infections, infections. That is a sign that you are probably diabetic because, like Gifty said earlier, there's not good blood flow. And I think there's another slide that we can show. Do you have anything to talk about?
Yeah, with that infection and the wound healing, I think
I'll go
your
to that slide then.
immune system is also a little compromised if you become diabetic because the cells are not really functioning well and your immune system is a little low. That's why you are prone to infections, that you keep getting infections over and over. So if you are such that you used to be very healthy, then all of a sudden you are coming down with infections upon infections, and whenever you have a cut or something happen, you are not able, it's not easily healed. It takes longer for it to be healed. Sometimes it stay with you for the longest because you have the sugar around. The bacteria or the virus, whatever is in there, is not being killed quickly because your immune system is compromised. So you are not able to fight off, all these extra things happening. So you have to watch out. If you get a cut and it take longer to heal, and you are prone to infections all around you, then you have to check with your doctor for diabetes.
My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. And I'll borrow that explanation you also gave about circulation with wound healing. Because if your blood sugar is high, if you have high blood glucose levels or hyperglycemia, you have not yet been diagnosed with diabetes. So we can say that your blood sugar is high, right? If it is high, like she said, circulation is poor. Your body cannot send blood to all the cells like it should be. And so, like a cat that we see in this video on our side here, the blood flow is rich in it. And so you see that it's bringing the inflammatory cells to come and then heal that cut. But if the blood is not rich in there, or blood is coming back very, very minimal, then all those cells that need to come there and heal that wound cannot get there.
Right.
So circulation is compromised. And then the other thing is, if you have had high blood glucose for a long time too, your nerves may be damaged at that point. And so you will not even take care of it because you don't feel it. The nerves are numb over there. So you get a cut and you don't even know. Before you know, it's been 3 days before you saw that, hey, this thing cut me here, I didn't know. And before you know, you didn't take care of it, bacteria has already gone there and infection is going on. And so high blood glucose levels are dangerous. And so if you have some of these signs and you have not been diagnosed with diabetes, check it out. If you have any wound of any source and it's taking so long to heal and you have not been checked for diabetes, ask your doctor, hey, try me, check diabetes and see. The sooner you get your blood glucose level, the easier you can heal all those wounds. Some wounds will heal quickly if your blood glucose levels are controlled. But if not, then it will hang around forever. So that is another sign of diabetes if you have not been diagnosed. All right. So
Yeah, and you mentioned the nerve damage, which is the latter part too, right? It doesn't show right away.
Right away.
But if you are diabetic for a long period of time, your nerves kind of damage to a point that you can get hurt or you can step on something, then you can't even feel it, right? Because the cells around they call it endothelial cells has been damaged because they are not getting enough flow of blood and all that. And because of the presence of sugar, they are all damaged. The nerves are damaged, and that you're not sensitive to things around you. And it doesn't, like, you step on something, you don't feel it, to a point that people can say that they got cut at their toe and they don't even know that they have a cut. So controlled diabetes is very important, because somebody said that, oh, I'm okay, I don't feel anything. The end stage is not pleasant. It's not good at all. So if you are aware that you are diabetic, do your best to control it as much as possible, because if it stay uncontrolled for too long, then the nerves are going to be damaged, and that can affect you in the latter stage.
All right, all right. And then I have a, come on. If you have any question, anything to share, you have to bring it up as we are going close to the end now. All right, and the lady that I know that talked to me about the fact that her nails have become black, and this lady we know is diabetic, but no amount of explanation, makes sense to her that her nail is gotten black. She's thinking that maybe somebody is doing something. I mean, just to be short, don't attribute everything to spirits and to things that you don't understand. That is why they are professionals. Ask the professionals, and when they tell you something, please do accept in good faith. Even if you don't believe them, do what they say, and then see if it works out.
How do you do something that you don't believe in,
Oh
right?
my goodness. That's it. That's the thing.
Yeah, you
If you
said
believe
what? The
other things,
nail is black? I don't
yes.
understand.
So the blood flow problem is basically what I'm getting at.
Oh,
They
okay.
can't perfuse blood in their nail bed, and they are thinking that it's something else. But we know that this person haven't had diabetes over years. We know, and also knowing that the blood glucose has not been controlled because we know her numbers. So we're telling her that, look, this is all linked to your glucose level not being controlled. Your A1C is this much, and you want your nails to be clean like anybody else. You can't get that. And so basically, if you notice anything on you, whether you are diabetic now or not, just make sure you are on top of things. If you are not, we ask that you go get checked. Because the sad thing is to find out in the late stage that you have something that you could have taken care of long ago. So definitely let's do something about those things we see in our body. So delayed wound healing is a sign that you may have high blood sugar or diabetes. And then the next one, I think this may be the last. Is dark spots. I couldn't find any real good video about somebody with dark spots, but basically the dark spots will be around the neck area. Especially if you are dark skinned, you may not see it as much, but light skinned people may see it more. Not necessarily in the face like this, even though it's possible. But I just wanted to bring it up that if you also have high glucose amount over a long period, it shows up in your skin as round dark spots, especially around the neck and then also your armpits. So if you see those appear when they were not though, they are not birthmarks, but at some point in your life they just showed up. Then ask yourself, where is this from? Is this from high sugar? If it is, then you can take care of it. But the only way to find out is to get checked and find out what is going on with you. All right, I'm going to go for it. All right, and I think with that, we'll go to what we have planned for next week. We were supposed to talk about this week, but we realized that if we don't talk about how to even identify that you have diabetes, some people may be watching and think they don't even have diabetes. Let alone telling people how to manage their blood sugar. So at least if you did not know you have diabetes and you watched all this to the end where we are now, you can check and see. The other thing is, not all the signs we mentioned are going to show up in people. So if you don't have any, you don't say that, oh, okay, I'm cool. I don't have to see the doctor. No, that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that if you have these signs, you definitely have to go get checked. If you don't have these signs, you definitely need an annual physical with your blood glucose, cholesterol, and blood pressure check. So
Yeah.
you still need to get those done. Especially after the age of 30, you got to get those done every year at least.
Yes.
You have insurance or not. You just pay one time, 1 year, or break it up into monthly payment, whatever it is. I just don't want you to use the excuse of no insurance or no, 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 no. No insurance, you got to insure yourself with taking care of yourself. So definitely get checked once a year, even if you don't see these signs we have mentioned. And if you see them, then you don't have to wait. You got to call the doctor ASAP. Whenever you've watched this, if you are watching this today, call them after the show and make appointments. Say, hey, I see these things in me. I got to get myself tested. And then once you are, cleared, then you're fine. If you're not cleared, it's not the end of life. In fact, that's actually the beginning of life, because you're going to live a better life so that you live a longer life, a healthier life. So next week, we're going to try and hit on some of the things that diabetics may be doing to help manage their blood glucose levels. And it's not just going to benefit diabetics, it's going to benefit everybody who doesn't want to become diabetic. So it is for everybody for that matter. But if you are diabetic, those are some of the things you can do. And for those who don't want to be, those are some of the things you can do, because basically all it's going to do is going to reduce your glucose level hanging around in your blood so that you don't get into high glucose levels. Is that anything else there?
Yeah, I think I'll read.
Yeah. And so before we close, though, we want you to hit the like button. Like on the bottom of the screen. It's not going to be on the side of the video. That's just a video playing there. And then also the subscribe button also on the bottom of the video, and ensure that you have subscribed to our shows, our channel, and we hope to go on this journey together in getting ourselves healthy, living better lives with better choices. You have any closing advice for them? All right. So if not, let's see if any other questions. No, we just have that one comment that came through. I'll leave on there as we close. If you have any comment and you watch after the replay, after the live show, you can still ask questions. You can still ask, share, bring comments, add more to what we have said. We only have so much time we can do this. So add more if we missed anything. Or as I said, you found out that you're diabetic in a different way. Tell us, let us know what made you find out, so that other people may learn from your experience. And with that being said, I think we can bring the show to a close, right, honey?
Yeah.
All right. So in that case, we will say, Beloved, we wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. God bless you.